Hello and welcome back to Mechanics Deep Dives. Today we will talk about the parry mechanic in Hollow Knight. So this is actually quite simple on a basic definition. Effectively, every time you punch or hit a range attack with one of your attacks or a weapon attack, you will be able to deflect it. The actual response of this is different from weapon to weapon though. So for melee attacks, this usually just means that you don't take any damage, but you will get hit by follow-up attacks. But you can usually jump out. For many attacks, you can just keep attacking to keep parrying something. It's not possible for some. Like we will look at an attack later on, which I will try to attack with a follow-up, but you can't. But in theory, you could jump out of this. For this bell toss range attack that we can see here, you can just punch it back. I will try to showcase my low skill elements in parrying this bell character with the stick. But if you punch the sticks mid-attack animation, you can actively avoid taking damage to it. Interesting factor for this is that it actively requires you getting hit with the attack. So if you're in iframes because you got hit previously, then your attack will not parry something, which sometimes results in you punching through the enemy attack and then you take the hit afterwards because the attack is now inside of you. Not sure if this is exactly how it functions, maybe you avoid it, but usually I take damage in these situations. So yeah, here a parry element for range attacks for this enemy is that, hey, you can punch the bell backwards and if you hit the enemy, then you will deal damage to them. There are a few other attacks, range attacks that will simply phase through you, and attacks that have multiple hits towards you for range attack, then the follow-up attacks can still hit you. Oh, this is like here. Wow, I did it. Well, I did it once. So I punched the bell attack while it was approaching me, and then got a parry, which just nullified that hit. So why is this a really relevant mechanic in this game? And maybe also for other games. So Hollow Knight is really stingy with iframe abilities. So you usually are not allowed to just phase through attacks. And you don't have many defensive options than just navigating yourself around enemies. So there are few things, like I have this parry ability that I just showcased here, which gives you like a different form of block that's just easier to perform and then a payoff afterwards. There's also a dash ability that gives you iframes but costs a resource for using so, like your silk resource that you would also use for healing or other abilities. The parry mechanic, so punching enemy attacks, is just always available to the player. So it's quite powerful in terms of just when you can use it. But it is... And so here, this is so you see, this is a range attack. You can parry it. You heard here in the first punch, but you will get hit with the second one. So it's always available. So it's your first, like you have this from the beginning of the game, and throughout most of the game, this is your, hey, an ability that you can use to avoid damage that does not require good positioning. And for many enemies, if you are really like on point with this, you can block entire attack combos. So for this guy, and the thing that's also interesting is that I can punch his punches and use it as a jump pad, because if I attack something like this, like downward slash attack with a downward attack, then I bounce off this, similar to punching the enemy. So I can use it as a staircase to climb up to him. So this game actively allows you to, like this. This item actively allows you to effectively block other enemy attacks. And you can block more things with this than you would originally expect. There are loads of explosions and so on that you can just punch and you avoid the damage for them if your timing is on point. It's also way easier for certain enemies, like specifically enemies that have longer weapons make this way easier. And enemies that have range attacks. Like usually is a really good way of challenging range attacks. Like not necessarily against this like blade attack that this guy has that keeps spinning into you. But for many other range attacks, it's a really good solution. And yes, effectively what this allows you to do is avoid damage early in the game. How does this apply to other games? So I do think putting a defensive measurement on your attack is a really cool thing for games. Because like if you put this like in a fighting game, just trying to block other players' attacks with your attacks kind of generates a neutral state for both sides. when they try to attack at the same time. I know that many fighting games work this with a priority system, but I don't necessarily dislike the neutral system. I do think this will frequently result in people just blocking each other for multiple attack sequences. That being said, if you put your health really low, this could be just a cool mechanic in itself. And I actually like this a little more than iframing attacks on in many other games, simply because this feels more engaged than just avoiding attacks. And I would like to see more games playing around with this. The other thing is it obviously has like low recovery because it's just your normal attack, and it's also quite friendly towards the player in terms of if you would miss that, you would probably just deal damage to the enemy, so it's also nice in this regard. The thing that it doesn't do in this game is block enemies' body slams, so if they walk into you, this will not block this, and there are many attacks like this where the enemy just like slashes through you, so you can block the actual weapon, but you can't block the damage that the character would do when they run into you. So it has few limits in this game, but I kind of get why this is the case. Probably hard to manage this otherwise. Okay, that's all I have for now. If you want to add anything to this, please put it in comments. If you want to correct me in one place, please do so as well. And we see each other in the next episode. Cheers, have a good one.